Welcome to Insight Builder channel, large language model automators, Python experts, and my dear friends. Implementing vector search in Django website. We are going to use Python, sentence transformers, and Django framework in this discussion. Apart from that, for the front end, we will be using Bootstrap. We are going to implement a vector-based search inside a Django website, and we'll be using open source models for embedding the data and then loading it in Face database. If any of this does not make sense to you, I would suggest to take a look at my other videos in the playlists, especially the discussion where I touch upon LangChain, vector index stores, etc. in my playlist. Next is we'll be using Bootstrap. As I was explaining, this is a front-end framework for styling the data. We'll be seeing it in action in a couple of minutes. Let's go to the web page. This is a simple blog site that I have been creating. So this is the home page that is available, and this is the blog role that we can actually click, and if you click it, it will go to the various available blogs that is inside this website. Our point of interest is these two search bars here. The search bar on the left of this site is vector enabled search bar. The search bar that is on the right of this website is a regular search bar. The difference is, in case of the regular search bar, the function is a simple string function that is provided by Python, while the vector search uses the vector database, that is a FICE index database at the backend, and it provides the output. What is the difference? If I ask a natural language question, so what is meant by natural language question? Any kind of statement that is usually used by humans like us is natural language. Explain big data is a regular, it's a usual question that a human will ask. And if I search for that, you will see that I'm getting output here. The same thing, if I try in the regular Django search, explain big data, and if I execute, you will see there is no answer. The reason is, in the backend, the regular Django search will try to find if there is any data or any row that contains the words, explain big data. It will only try to do that. It will not try to understand the meaning of what these words are. So there is no semantic search in this particular regular searching. While in case of vector search, the backend, which is having a FICE database, will understand the semantics, meaning the meaning of these words, and it will do the searching. So that's why we are able to get the output. We are going to build such a backend and the front end in this discussion in next 30 to 40 minutes. It's going to be pretty simple. So let's move to the PDF. We are going to understand the process involved in bringing the power of AI to the front end. We'll be diving into the details of components that is involved in this pipeline, and also we'll be practicing the implementation of the logic with the least effort. So all these things that you saw there, it involves basic Django, Python, and a bit of understanding from the LangChain library. All these things I have already covered in my various videos in my playlists, so you can take a look at that if you have any questions. Any cookbook will have its ingredients, and this particular video is no different. I'm going to help you to build and implement a logic of vector search in your website, and it is going to have some necessary libraries. Like these libraries are by default required. In order for these libraries to run, especially sentence transformers and FICE to work, you should have Torch installed in your system. And Torch is going to take huge amount of space and also your download bandwidth. So please be aware of it. Without Torch, you will not be able to execute sentence transformers or any of the related models. The model that we'll be using also I'll be sharing with you. And if you are new to sentence transformers, take a look at the necessary video in my playlist. You will be able to find it out. PyS vector database with pre-existing vectors. So I already have this vector database in this discussion that I'll be sharing. The database is already available. I'll be showing you where the database is and you can use it directly. I'm not going to tell you how to populate the vector database. It is done in the backend. You'll be needing a terminal on Linux, preferably. If it is on Windows, it's also good, no issues. I'll be using Vim, and also the Python is installed in the backend. Need a browser that can open the localhost 8000 port for viewing the site. So this is all are the requirements. What was done in the background? Whatever you saw here, the website, let me go to the browser. So this website was built after a considerable amount of research. Let's go to the PDF. Before actually jumping into the front end, the back end of data, that is the YouTube videos, the thumbnails, description, was collected from the Kaggle dataset. You can collect, if you are having your own YouTube channel and you want to create a similar kind of a blog and a similar kind of a vector search, you can always download your own data and build your own PyS database and then do all this by yourself. There is nothing stopping you. That's what I have done. But if you are not, if you don't have an YouTube data, then I would suggest to visit this particular link. You will be getting the existing data. You need to use the sentence transformers model, all mini LM L6v2. This model is available for free. You don't need to pay for it. As I was telling, you need to have Torch installed in your laptop or in your system. You don't need to have a GPU, but if you have a GPU, it will speed up the process. Bootstrap examples. So this is the examples that I had extensively referred when I was building this front end. So believe me, it's once you understand how to use these examples, most of the challenges of building the front end will vanish in no time. So this I realized after a couple of trial and error. Finally practiced Django framework. So I had built multiple web apps like blogs, galleries, task managers before I can make this entire video. So Django framework, like any other framework, has lots of moving parts. You have to understand what goes on, and for that you need to practice. That is the only way out. Watching this video is only going to tell you what is possible. What you can do can be only found out once you start practicing and make your fingers dirty. Continuing further, what will be done next? So next we will be diving into the terminal and start building the project and an app. The project name will be website and the app name will be vector. Following that, we will be configuring the base HTML, that is the HTML page that will be used for creating the search.html. And then we will be wiring up the views.py and urls.py. These are the various scripts inside the Django framework. We'll be wiring it up, and then we'll be writing the search function itself in the views.py and see how it can be linked with the front end. Finally, the result of the vector search function will be populated back onto the search.html. So this is what we will be doing. This is just an overview that I want to share with you guys. I believe that you will like this kind of content. Do leave a like, share it with others, and subscribe to my channel for further updates on the Python related libraries, projects like this, as well as discussion on open source libraries. In the CLI, this is the path that this is the username and this is the path that I am in. Keep your eyes peeled for this path, because all the modifications that I am making will be reflected here only. Unlike the other videos where you will be having an IDE with the tree along with the IDE, here there is no such thing. You might be wondering, it's actually difficult to follow. If you are from the Windows background, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. However, in the future, it's going to be more easier once you practice it right now. Let's move to the next step. So I'm going to start working on the building up the project first. So you need to install various libraries for Django to work. If you're not if you are not familiar with those libraries, do take a look at my earlier videos on Django. You will be able to come up to speed in no time. I am using the Jupyter underscore env virtual environment, which already has Django installed. I'm going to say Django admin, and I'm going to say start project website. Since I'm using terminal muxer along with the Z shell, most of the commands that I've already typed in my terminal gets populated automatically. So this is one of the huge benefits of working with Z shell and Linux terminal. Let's continue. So the website gets created. So if you see, there are various other folders. Among them, I have the folder called website. Now I'm going to move into website. You can follow my mouse. You can see my mouse here. You can follow my mouse whenever I'm trying to explain something. I'm inside the website right now. If I do a list, you'll see that I have manage.py and website folder. In order for us to go to the next step and create the app, we need to use the Python 3 manage.py start app vector. So this is the command we need to use for creating an app. Once I execute this command, there will be an additional folder in the same location of the website. So you see there is an additional folder called vector. This vector is the application folder and this website is the project folder. You need to maintain the views, models, and the templates of each application inside the application folder. This is very, very important when it comes to Django. Why I'm saying this is, each application will have its own set of pages, web pages, its own sets of models. So it's better to keep them in one folder. Another advantage of doing this is, if you are going to take this app and share it with someone, they can use it very easily. What I'm going to do next is, I am going to wire up the application that I created with the project, that is website. So for that, I need to go into Vim, I need to go into website and open settings.py. So I'll be doing some basic configurations here. So first of all, remove this if this is not required, and import OS. We'll be needing this library in a couple of minutes. Go down and I'm going to configure the Django extensions. So this is required. This extension is required for running the run script command. Next, I'll also need to configure the app. The app will be in vector.apps.vector config. So this is I'll show it in a moment. So let me go into vector. So this is a class that we need to import in our settings.py. Let's go back. Let's save the settings.py. The saving process happens in Vim at this location. So if I do a colon like this, and if I do a W, so it will save. And if I do a colon like this, and if I do a Q, it will quit. And this is some basics of Vim. Let me continue further. The next step I need to do is to add the templates folder. This templates folder I need to include in my website folder also. So for that, what I'm going to do is, just give me a moment. I am in the root of this project, and I am going to go into vector app. Inside this app, I need to create the folder called as templates like this, and I will also need to create a folder called static. If you are going to have any kind of assets like the pictures or your style sheets, etc., then we need to place it in the static folder. If I do an ls right now, you can see that I have the templates folder and I have the static folder also. In this discussion, we will be using only the templates folder. I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to go back to the Vim and I'm going to continue the modification of the settings.py. As I come down, there will be additional steps we need to complete. So if you are going to use static folders, we need to configure this variables also, static root, static, and static files dirs is equal to os.path.join base dir static. Once you have done this configuration, then we can save this and exit. We have wired up the Django app and the Django project, but we have to still wire up the URLs. For that, we will have to go into website and we have to go into urls.py. And inside the urls.py, we have to remove this. This is not required, but let's keep the last line. So because we are going to include the apps here. So what we need to do is we need to come down here and path. We can actually leave it as the home page and we can say include vector dot urls. You can see that the help that was provided by Django itself has the necessary information. So if you're going to create a app called blog, then you need to say include blog.urls. You can see it on line number 3 of this particular page. And in our case, the app name is vector and its URLs will be in the urls.py. So let us go up and delete these things because we don't need it right now. And our urls.py is completed. So we don't need to touch this anymore. Why I'm doing this one by one is if I'm going to have multiple files opened, it will be difficult for you guys to follow. So if you see here in this root of this website project, you have another one website folder. So inside this website folder only all the settings.py, urls.py, etc. was there, and that is what I was modifying till now. And I was doing it from the outside because it was easier for me to manage both the project as well as the app. That is the reason why I was doing this. Let me go out again, and now I am going to start working on the application. Before I do that, I want to see whether the basic setting of my project is working. For that, I need to execute python 3 manage.py and I need to say run server. If I execute this, if you are seeing any such kind of errors, this is because inside the application, we don't have a couple of files. So we need to start including that. So let us exit this. These are the basic starting errors that we get, and it is a good thing that you can see what kind of issues we can face. So first issue is that it is saying on line number 6, we have used the function called as include, but this has not been imported. So we can go here and we can say path include. So this will get cleared. And the next error it was telling is that the vector application does not have any URLs. So what this means is that the application, the app that you have created does not have any urls.py file. So for that, we need to create the urls.py file next. So we will exit right now and we are going to start working on the vectors now. Vectors, and inside the vector folder, there are many files. We have views, models, apps, etc. But there is no urls.py. So you have to create urls.py. This is the first step. Next, we need to open urls.py in Vim and we need to start executing. So in order to create the path for your application, so your application will have various web pages. We are going to create a single web page, which is going to be just the search page of this application. But in reality, there will be more web pages. Like you will have your blogs, you will want to show your blog details, etc. You want to list the various blog posts, but we are going to keep it simple. Let's say import from Django .urls import path. So this is the one of the important points that we need to import, functions that we need to import, and we need to also import from import views. So this views file also we need to start working on. When you are building up the application, there are various files and various functions that are linked together. It can become a little bit of a confusion when you are going to work with Django in the beginning. So what I would suggest is always follow the process of creating the settings.py, then the urls.py, and then finally the views, the way I am following right now. That I felt is more intuitive. So urls.py patterns, and inside the patterns we are going to create the path. So the path that we are going to use is search, and the views function is going to be search again. In this way, when we are going to give us very similar name, it will be very simple for you guys to follow up if there is going to be any kind of error. So once this is done, the urls.py has been created, but we need to have the views.py. So for that, we will have to create the functions in the views.py. So let's go to views.py. You can see that I'm opening the views.py here. Inside the views.py, already we have Django has helped by importing us the render command, and it's very simple. We have to create def search, and we have to ask for request, and we are going to say return render request, and we are going to say we have to work with the search.html. In this place, you might be still wondering, so we don't have search.html, so how is this going to work? Let's not worry about that. Let's actually say print view function executed. As of now, we have not created any kind of logic in this location. We have not created the search.html file also. This function will not work. The reason why I'm creating a placeholder function is for the server to start and running, or else the server will throw error. So that is the reason why I'm creating. If you go back to urls.py, I have imported all the functions and classes from views.py file on line number 2, right? And in line number 5, I'm using that function, one of the function called search. If the views.py does not have the function called search, then urls.py will not get executed and the server will not get executed. So because of this, I have to create all these placeholders. I hope you guys understood what's going on here. Let's go to the shell. So in the shell, I'm going to try and run the server. So let's see whether the server runs right now. So let us see Python 3 manage.py run server. And let me go to the front end right now. You can immediately see that the front end is throwing an error again. So it is saying that the empty path didn't match any of these. So it is basically telling that, okay, the URLs does not match any of the path that is available. For this, we have to again recheck our server again. Let's go to the CLI. We have already given that the path for the URLs, the path for the search is /search, okay? And if it is going to be empty, it will not work. So what we are going to do is we have to go back to the front end. Let's go to the browser and then let us try this. So let us say search. And now there is a different kind of error. It is saying search.html is missing. Now we can see that, let's go back to the CLI. Now we can see that it is able to find this path, the search path, and it is able to go into the views.search function. And then now we are in the views.py file. And here we see it is trying to render this search.html page. So this is missing. So what we are going to do next is we are going to create this search.html. How are we going to create it and where? We are going to create it inside the templates folder. So in this templates folder, let's clear this page and let me cd into templates, touch. I'm going to create a couple of files right now. base.html, header.html, footer.html, and search.html. I'll be telling you why I'm creating all these things as we continue further, but as of now, let us create all these files. So the touch command in Linux will help to create these files in single go. So you see all the files are created. With this, let us go to the browser again and let us do a refresh. And now you see that there's no error. Let's go to the CLI again. And here also you see that the search path execution has been completed successfully. So the number 200 here means that the request has been completed successfully and response has been received. When it is a 500, it's an error. So it's basically telling that the function did not work properly. Second thing is you can see that view function executed. So this print has been also executed. So where this print came, it came from this particular print function. Let's stop for a moment and review to where we have come. We have created the website project. We have created the vector app. We also started working with views.py, urls.py, and we wired it for rendering the search.html page. So we completed line number 3 and line number 1. In order to work with base.html, header, footer, etc., we created the files, but we have not still populated anything into these files. Even then, we could actually get till line number 3. What is left is we need to get this files populated, we need to write the functions, and then we need to get the results. So there is going to be a couple of things we need to do.